Hey, this is Brent Jensen. You're listening to No Sleep Till Sudbury, the show where we talk about the music that makes your skin vibrate. The show is brought to you by Pariah Pickups. Quality guitar pickups handcrafted with love down in Detroit City. Check them out at pariahpickups.com. The show is also brought to you by Storyfora, the rating services and content agency providing people with communication solutions of all sorts. For writing services of any type, go to Storyfora. That's Phora, storyfora.com. All right, welcome to part 2 of 2 with the very talented and always entertaining Rik Emmett. Last week we talked about his new book entitled Lay It on the Line. And this week we talk about some of the other stuff that he's been working on, including new versions of some old Triumph classics and a new project called Ten Telecaster Tales. And guess what, folks? Rik was kind enough to give us our own exclusive little taste of some of these songs. Check it out. All right, we are back. Rik Emmett's domicile, and I'm looking at a rather large horse on a wall right now. It's called Eli.
Yeah. He wasn't Eli when he first started, and he had 4 legs when he first started.
Yeah.
So it's a carousel horse from the turn of the century, last century, so maybe 1880, 1900, somewhere around there. And he had been dipped and stripped. And at the time, my wife and I, we'd had a lady helping us decorate our house. Mm-hmm. And we had very large common areas in the old house, a big vestibule, and then a large area at the bottom of the stairs, and then a landing up at the top of the stairs. And she said, where all the bedrooms kind of, had doors that came out onto this big landing. And she said, well, you could get like a carousel horse and put it on a pole up on that landing. It'd be kind of a cool piece to have there. I go, well, I don't know. Go and see if you can find us a good horse. And if you can, we'll consider maybe doing this. Yeah. And so when we saw the horse, the staircase went up and it was a switchback. And so there was a really high wall that ran all the way up to a cathedral style ceiling over the staircase with a chandelier in it. And I went, what if we cut the horse in half and we stuck him up on the wall? And they went, well, that's a weird idea. That's a rock star kind of idea. And I went, I'd like to paint him. And because he'd been dipped and stripped.
Yeah. And
so that's what I did. I hand painted him, put him on a Black & Decker power table, those little workbenches.
Yeah.
And with a couple of hooks to hold him. And then I painted him up. So, and I put the E because Emmett.
Of
so
course.
I put the E on his saddle.
Yeah.
You folks can't see it.
It's a huge E there.
You could go on YouTube and see, find a picture of him, I think. Anyhow, so then he was on the wall and in the studio downstairs when we moved here, I would be sitting there writing and I would be wondering about things. And I went, yeah, and I would look at him in the face and I'd go, you're like my wonder horse. And then I go, you have an E on your saddle. You're Eli, the wonder horse. Now, Eli was the prophet that flew in the chariot that was on fire, right?
Yeah.
Like chariot of fire, Eli was the prophet. So I went, a horse that's a prophet, that's a wonder horse. I kind of like this metaphor. It's tying a lot of things together.
It is.
So, yeah. And he never had a tail in the old house.
I noticed that.
Yeah, he had peacock feathers coming out of his arse.
So
when we moved here, that was one of the art projects that I undertook. That's wire and mostly dry decks and polyfilla and plaster and stuff and then I painted it and then I made that kind of, so it almost like, Medusa's head.
It does look like that.
Yeah.
A Hydra.
But I was trying to sort of mimic what was already on his mane. Mm-hmm. As you're sitting there, you can see that his mane already had a kind of a, so it didn't turn out quite as good as I wanted. But when I tried to make it as thick as the mane, it would always just fall apart. So I had to make it a little more windy. It had to have a few more gaps in it.
I like it.
In order to stay in place. Anyhow, and his eyeballs, by the way, they came from a taxidermy place.
No.
Yeah, those are eyeballs that you would put in a bear or something.
Really?
Yeah, they're just glass things.
Oh,
wow. Obviously, they were just wood. I drilled those out and I put those in.
How about that?
And I had to make all of his teeth too, by the way.
What are they made from?
like, I don't know, polyfilla. You know? Just carve them out of like, some kind of dry decks, Yeah.
Eli the rock and roll horse.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can edit that story.
I like it. So that's just one of the interesting things to look at in what is called Eli's loft sometimes, I think, right?
Yes.
This is the first time I'm seeing this room. And, I think the last time I was here, this room was half its size, and it's hard to describe for people who can't see it, but like it's multi-level. There's a room that was pre-existing, and then there's steps up to a whole new area here that we're in right now. And it's decorated with all sorts of Triumph memorabilia and instruments and commemorative plaques, and it's got
and guitars.
Oh,
They're
yes.
everywhere. They're on stands in and around, and there's a wall that's completely dedicated to them. And for those folks, that haven't seen a picture of it online, I have a writing desk where it's kind of like more like a cartoonist's or a drafter's desk.
Yeah,
because I do a fair amount of sketching still, and it's an easy way to write. And then, of course, you can prop it up, and it can be a music stand if you want.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have music stands and a little bench that has 3 guitar amps sitting on it, which I use mostly I only use 1 amp for recording. But and then I have a little desk that has 2 of mini amps that sit on it. So there's 5 guitar amps in total. But there's about 50 guitars in here.
Yes.
And by the way, we're sitting on 2 little sort of rolly chairs that the arms can flip back.
I like that.
Because if you were a guitar player, now your guitar won't clank against it. So I bought those especially when I decorated. But there's also 2 green stressless reclining chairs that have, and I thought when you were coming, maybe Brent and I'll sit in those. We'll set it up that way. But I did a podcast once with my son.
Yeah.
We shot a little thing, and we did them, and we got kind of lazy and tired. Yeah, we were kind of getting really relaxed.
I could see that.
I thought, no, maybe I should be sitting upright a little more. Yeah, because those recline, and so. But I when I'm watching TV, I watch a lot of sports up here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge baseball fan, and so you and I have to be finished pretty soon because the Jays are playing.
That's right.
Yeah. So, there's a stained glass window in the older portion of the room, the lower portion of the room, which that came from the old house. And that was made by an American draft dodger named Happy.
No way.
Yeah, and that's got sort of, Jeanette and I think of our family symbol as a fleur-de-lis kind of, the whole faith, hope, love kind of thing. And so the room we're in, it's got windows all around. The big thing, I wanted a studio where I would have light, natural light all the time. Yep. And from mostly a western and northern direction. So the sun sets like right directly this way and comes through and into here, into this space in the afternoons. Yeah, and this has a cathedral ceiling. So for those of you that can't see it, and it's got a mandala on one wall opposite the. Yeah, that's essentially it.
Yeah.
There's a trunk here. There's a story behind this. It's kind of functioning as the coffee table.
Yeah.
And that trunk was my great grandfather came from England.
Wow.
And brought his tools in that pine trunk. Yeah. He was a woodworker kind of laborer guy. Wow. And so that was his tool chest. And I refinished it. It was been in my parents' basement. And then when I moved out and had no furniture, I refinished that. And then when we were going to build this room, I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put that trunk at center ice kind of, and have that be the kind of the coffee table for it. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay. So we are going to talk about a couple things, new versions of old Triumph songs.
Yeah. So a guy that I met at Mike Shotton's studio, a guy named John Carroll, he has a thing called Destiny Tours, and he coordinates every year when the Canadian contingent goes to the World Hockey Junior Championships. That's kind of his baby.
Okay.
And so he puts those packages together, no matter where it is. So this year it's in Sweden. And Mike Schotten had played in the band that they get to come to play the New Year's gig for the Canadian families and friends and blah, blah, blah. So they said, Rik, you got to come. It's a lot of fun. It'll be great, And I went, I'm retired, I don't really do that kind of thing. No, Rik, you got to come. It's like, it's going to be great, Come on, we can do some of the old Triumph songs. And I went, oh, geez, I don't know. I can't really sing them in the keys that they're in anymore and stuff. Over the course of time, John had asked me, would you like, he does a thing called, now he converted the band thing that plays those gigs into calling it the Canadian Cover Crew. And he makes set lists that are full of cover songs that he wants to hear. Mm-hmm. And so he says to Schotten, hey, will the band learn these songs? And Mike goes, oh yeah, we learn this. Sure. No problem. So they go, sometimes John goes, hey, you know what? My wife and I, we sing in the church choir or whatever. Can we sing harmonies on something? If we come into your studio, could we do a cover version of... And so at one point they said, Rik, would you like to sing the lead vocal on the song Eleanor Rigby?
Wow.
And we'll get a string quartet and we'll play. So there's a video that is online, Canadian Cover Crew, it's on YouTube. And it's me singing Eleanor Rigby with a string quartet.
Wow.
And yeah. And so then he goes, how about we get a string quartet for Sweden? You come and you can do your Triumph songs with a string quartet in Sweden. I go, okay, you're making this so that it's hard for me to say no. Can I have a hand in? Oh, absolutely. Change the keys. Do whatever you need. Restructure the songs. I go, okay. Mm-hmm. So now you and I had mentioned earlier something. I'd gone out to Penticton this summer, and I had done a songwriting workshop out there for Robert Ott. I had an acoustic guitar, and at one point I just picked it up and it was chit chat, being asked questions, and then I said, "Well, I don't know, song, hold on," and I played a little bit of it, and that clip ended up on YouTube. And then I did a little bit of Magic Power, but I did it in a new key. I'd learned it. I said, I can't sing it in the key of D anymore. I'm dropping it down to the key of A. Yeah. Like I dropped it down a whole fifth, and it works great. Oh. And it's. I can really Pete Townsend it up. I can really bang the crap out of the acoustic guitar. So I did Magic and Lay It. Yeah. Lay It, I kind of did more of a kind of a Clapton redid Layla kind of thing to that. So it's still in its same key, but I dropped the melodies a lot and made it so that I'm kind of singing it a little sexier, a little bluesier. It's got a kind of a real, like I can play you just a little vibe of the way the chord changes sound. I'll just bang my head on the microphone there. Like it has this kind of, the song already always had this kind of a, so it still has that, in the tune, but these changes, there's a kind of a, right? So the song kind of lives in that ballpark now.
Okay. I like that.
Et cetera, et cetera.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it kind of sits in a nice place, right? It has that kind of groove. Yeah, so that's going to have strings now, and Magic is in this key. So instead of being, it's here.
Come down quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it makes it so. It's on an acoustic, not an electric, but you get the idea. Yeah. That's the Townsend thing. You can just really beat it up in A. You got so many open strings. Yeah.
See, that's cool because Allied Forces was very much influenced by Who's Next.
It sure was. Yeah, Magic Power. I mean, Pete Townsend was in that song. He probably should have got a co-writing credit. But yeah. No, I can remember my friend Andy Brackus had that album, and we would be at his place and we would listen to Nights in White Satin, Moody Blues, Deep Purple and Rock, which you told a story about with your daughter earlier. Not with the tape recorder running, but his 15-year-old daughter just discovered the album Deep Purple and Rock, which that was a formative record for me.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Hard Lovin' Man by Richie Blackmore.
Yeah.
And he literally, apparently when he did that solo in the studio, he threw his guitar on the floor and was kicking it and standing on it for the wangy bar. The stuff that you're hearing, at the end, the ooh, howling.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, he was doing a Jimi Hendrix. He was just destroying the guitar.
That's cool.
Yeah, that sort of was one of Richie's things in that era.
Wow.
But Nights in White Satin, and
probably Machine
Who's Next, and then we had a softer side too. I don't think there was Tea for the Tillerman, but there might have been some Cat Stevens or some Carole King or
Joni Mitchell.
Joni Mitchell. Andy wasn't as much of a Joni Mitchell guy, but Seals and Crofts was an album that we liked. Yeah, and that got a fair amount of play. That one that had Summer Breeze makes me feel fine. Yeah, really, really beautiful harmonies, and there was a song on that I learned called Paper Airplanes. I can't remember any of it now, but if I had the lyric sheet in front of me, I go, oh yeah, I liked that song. That was it was a story song, as I recall. Blah, blah. Okay, so.
Cool. Well, thank you for playing that. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's easy.
Okay, so a lot of new instrumental acoustic pieces that you've been working up. So there is a new record, and I think that you're going to call it 10 Telecaster Tales. Is that right?
That's the working title at this point.
Yeah.
And Brent, you're a man of the digital age. Certainly, with your podcast and whatnot. So you know that this world, there's really no deadlines anymore. It's things just kind of float along, and then whenever they get done, they get done. And whenever you're going to put them out, you put them out, and they leak out. They don't necessarily have to have a gigantic marketing campaign that's a large record company behind it going to make it happen in its release. So I've been working on this stuff. Let me give you all the backstory for this. I got on this kick about Telecasters. And I had been a Les Paul guy for live gigs. Those were my guitars, Gibson Les Pauls. And I had an endorsement with Gibson and towards the end and stuff and of my touring days. Those were my guitars. But when I, started sitting around and retired and COVID came, and now we're sitting around and we're sitting more than we're standing to play. And I realized the waist of a Gibson Les Paul, it's too narrow. The guitar doesn't sit comfortably on my lap. And I had always been a guy that kind of liked archtop, as you can see from my collection here. I liked big archtop style jazz guitars. They sat, nice for me. But then I started to realize, and of course I'd always really admired Ed Bickert as a guitarist. And he'd always had this old beat up, Fender Telecaster guitar that he'd played. It was the only guitar he played for almost all of his career, which is not true. He did have a Gibson Birdland that he played for a while and was still living out west. But by the time he'd moved to Toronto, all he ever did was play the Telecaster. You can make the whole world happen on one guitar. You don't need 50, even though this room stands as testament to the fact that, apparently the guy needs a mandolin and a banjo and a violin that he never touches. And, so I have a disease. There's no question.
You do.
Yeah, but I got on this Telecaster kick. So I had this guitar here. I'm pointing to a kind of an orange, beat up, horrible thing. It's a Bickert Deluxe. I had the neck and the body made in the States, and a friend of mine named Mike Smitty Smith who did the pickup for me and helped sort of curate the project. So that because I never thought Bickert's guitar would ever come up for sale. I thought the family would always just keep it, which that didn't happen. The guitar came up for sale, and it went for sale, and I think they got like $32,000 for it overnight. Kind of thing is like, wow. Yeah, the 12th Fret in Toronto put it up, and I think that's what it was. I think I've got my facts straight. And, I never would have paid that kind of money for it anyways. Like $30,000. Are you nuts? But I think the guitar is worth 10 times that. to be honest, in the market.
Wow.
Yeah, it's that iconic to me.
Mm.
Anyhow, I got one of my own that I built, eh? Okay, so that started my whole Telecaster thing. Which is not to say that I didn't have a Telecaster thing already, because the white one that you see sitting beside it, I already had that one.
Okay.
It was from my friend Lee Olson. And I've got 2 other tellies that are sitting over there in the racks. So it's not like I don't have other tellies. But I decided I'm going to design a telly.
Mm-hmm.
And your finger is pointing. Yeah.
At it, yeah. And before you go on, the reason why is because in the headstock, it does not say Fender Telecaster. It says the Rik Emmett collection, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's a Rik Emmett custom TLP. So what I did was decide, okay, what is it about the Gibson Les Paul that I love so much? I love the string playing of it. I like the bridge height. I like the ergonomics of the guitar in terms of the way that it plays because of its scale length, which is 24 3/4 inch scale length.
Mm-hmm.
Fender guitars, Telecasters, are 25.5. They're longer. So I go, I don't think I want the longer scale. I like the shorter scale. It makes the guitar a little more buttery to play for your hands. It also gives the tone a little bit more of a kind of a rich warmth as opposed to that twangy. Fender guitars have that twang, you know? And so scale length is one of the things that makes that happen. Just not just scale length, but it's one of the things that contributes to that. So I went, okay, Smitty, Mike Smith, can you help me? I want to make a Gibson scale length, Gibson bridge height kind of guitar, but everything else, and Gibson pickup style, but I want everything else about it to be like a telly. And he said, can do. Let's design it. So we did the design up, and a guy in Oakville named Garen DeCassian, who has a company called Lucin Guitars, Lucin Guitars, Loucin. So he's in Oakville. He did this for me, and it took a long time because it started during COVID, and it was like, oh, this is going to take forever. And then the guitar would come, and I would go, no, you didn't get the headstock right. No, you don't have no, this is not exactly right at the back of the neck. Oh, I don't like the way you finished the frets. Oh, wait, maybe it should have a pick guard. Oh, maybe it should be a black pick guard. Like, it kept going through change after change after change. But finally, it evolved to the point where I went, that's good. I will take delivery. Yes, it's fine. And so then I said, I'd been writing guitar pieces. Now, part of the backstory is we're sitting here in the studio. This house was under renovation, and my wife and I had to move out.
Right.
We were living in an Airbnb barn,
Mm-hmm.
3/4 of a mile down the road, checking in from time to time on our contractors as the thing just, was getting out of control. But that guitar I started to write the pieces when I was in the barn.
Oh.
And so then I came here, and I've been working on the pieces and finishing the pieces up. And so I've got 10 pieces that I feel, I'm getting pretty confident about.
Mm-hmm.
And after you and I finish today, my engineer, Steve Skingley's coming, and he's bringing the computer so that we've already done a couple of sessions, but we're going to get down to it. The computer needed a little bit of revising and needed a new hard drive. And so, but then, that's why the amp is set up with the mic on it and everything, because we've been doing some recording.
And that was the mic that I used last time I was here. It's an Allied Forces used mic.
Yeah. It's got some history.
Oh yeah.
An old Shure 57. Okay, so you want to hear a little bit of these guitar pieces?
Yes, sir.
Oh dear. What should I play for you? Okay, so here's something that's happening. On Friday, I'm going to the Metalworks, and I'm going to be shooting a video there, and I'm going to be using this guitar because Smitty, his company, MJS Pickups, I'm going to demo these pickups. So, just do little snippets of some of these new pieces because I think, hey, what better way to tease the fact that I got some new songs? I'll throw some little bits into the video.
Right.
So, I may scuff these up a little today, but because I don't have to have them in actual video form until Friday, but so I've still got a couple of days, but I've been working on these things. So the first one I'm going to play for you is just a little verse of a thing called So Pushy. Okay. And it's entitled that because it has a lot of pushes in the construction of the thing, but it's also, this is kind of who I am. I'm a little bit pushy. I'm a little bit ambitious. And so we'll see how this goes here.
All right.
All right.
That's great.
Yeah. Now that would have, 3 verses with a little bridge in it, but
Yeah.
that's just a taste, the intro and the first verse. So
Fantastic. It sounds great. I'd like a little flourish at the end too.
yeah, I got I've been honing my own sort of style by writing these pieces.
Yeah.
And a lot of things recur from piece to piece. So that those rasguiado kind of strummy little things with my nails, like I'd go and get acrylic nails.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Yeah, put on so that I can play with my nails.
Yes.
So that piece. But a lot of the stuff has got a lot of R&B in it too. There's they're very sort of R&B groove-based kind of little guitar pieces.
Yeah.
That's one of the things which is not to say, I mean, there's pieces that are standard kind of classical, like a... There are some pieces that have that kind of, but they eventually get to the point where they're going, they're getting stuff that's happening. You go, what happened there? Well, that's Emmett. That's his thing. He can't help it. He starts strumming away. There's a piece. I'm trying to think of, what I want to play for you. In just little excerpts. One of the things, I'm putting a capo on the 2nd fret here now. Because this give that a little tug. So that it starts like that, kind of a classical. Now, this would probably have phasing or some kind of chorusing or flanging on it. I'm just doing it clean so you can hear it, but I would process it up after because I kind of got on a kick. I was listening to the Joni Mitchell Hajira album.
Yes, I love that record.
Yeah, the guitar sounds on that are really lovely. And so I kind of went to my engineer. Hey, can we do this? He said, oh, yeah, we can do this, And we can either do it post, like you just record them clean and then you fiddle with them. And of course, we live in the digital age. You can do anything to anything now.
Yeah.
Or, I record them stereo, which is probably something that she did. And she used jazz chorus amps and chorus pedals. And, that was the early days of those effects. Anyway, so that piece that I just played, that little excerpt, it ends up being in a thing that's going... So see, you hear it coming back?
Yeah.
But it's got all this... And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. So this waltz thing,
I was going to say it's waltzing almost.
Yeah, there's a waltz that's going on in that. So everything kind of has dancey kinds of vibes to it or groove things. So there's another one. That's called My Burleytown Groove.
That's incredible.
So the chorus of that was...
Jeez.
Reggae, man.
Now you're just showing off.
Well, when you're doing guitar pieces, that's kind of part of it, right? I mean,
love it.
it has to have a little bit of sort of fire and spice, and yeah. Well, what else about? Oh, here's one. This one I'm calling now. The working title is "Funky Monkey Scratching." So this shows off if, both pickups on at the same time. So this gives you a slightly different tone out of the guitar. So you can hear it's just kind of a skinnier kind of.
Oh yeah. That's my favorite one. Oh, true. Wow. I really like that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's fun. It's fun to play.
That main riff is really cool.
Yeah, when I was trying to write the backstory, and of course, one of the things, I never just do anything half-assed. I get my whole ass in there. Because I have these 10 Telecaster Tales, and they're very specific kinds of story songs, pieces, then I decided, well, I should write the stories of them. I should write poems about them. I should see if I can't come up, because there should be a companion something to go along with the fact that these are stories, they're tales, and I'm a storyteller. So certainly I've been honing that by writing poetry books and memoirs. And so I was thinking about the whole thing about being a Canadian guitar player, personally, autobiographically thinking, and how there's a bloodline that exists in Toronto guitar players. And the Telecaster has a lot to do with that, because it was kind of like one of the holy grail guitars because of Robbie Robertson.
Right.
And playing with Ronnie and just those roots. Robbie Robertson was kind of the man in the Toronto scene at a certain point in time when a guy named Dominic Troiano was coming up.
Okay.
And Donnie Troiano kind of, hey, Robbie Robertson, I'm going to supplant him. I'm going to become the hottest gun in town kind of thing. And Donnie was a telly guy. And then all the Toronto guys were going, they'd seen, the Mandala or the bands that Donnie was in, Bush. And they went, Donnie, he's trying, his telly, Hey, I heard that Donnie Troiano baked his telly in his mother's oven, like covered it in something, and those stories would circulate, right?
Yeah.
So all of those things came to me, over the years like that. It was part of my development. The first good guitar that I ever bought was a Telecaster. When I decided to become a working man, I was still in high school, but I'd saved up my shekels and I went and I bought a Fender Telecaster and a little Fender Pro reverb amp, and I started jobbing Jewish weddings and bar mitzvahs, and so a telly was always a big part of what I was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So anyhow, writing the stories of these tunes and that thing, that funky monkey thing that you like, that style of playing, this kind of.
Love that.
It's James Brown. It's
exactly.
It's like this. Yeah.
Wow. Soul Man. I could listen to that all day.
Yeah. Steve Cropper. Yeah, that kind of R&B. So that was at the heart of Toronto guitar playing on one level. I mean, obviously, along comes, Hendrix and Clapton and British Invasion and now everybody's chasing other things too. Mm-hmm. But that was a pure thing, that R&B, and part of it was because you got Motown from Detroit.
Right.
You got, stuff that's leaking up from Buffalo, when we're not that far from New York. Like when I was a kid, I could go down to the Colonial Tavern and you could see touring acts jazz act, R&B acts. They'd make their pit stops on Yonge Street in the bars,
Right.
on their way to someplace else. And that kind of music was around, that kind of blues, R&B. So it's a part of who I am. And I'm finding now as I write these pieces, that's starting to come up. That's part of the story that's in these pieces. So when I'm, playing these kind of, that's that whole Robbie Roberts and Donnie Troiano kind of.
Yeah. Would it be fair to say that Rick James contributed to that a little bit?
He was a part of that scene for sure. James was he was in a band with Neil Young.
Yeah,
that
the
used
Minor Birds, right?
Yeah. In those days, I think the scene was sort of small enough that kind of everybody kind of had a sense of everybody else. There was so that you did get a kind of a cross pollination of horn funk bands,
yes,
R&B bands, but they would be playing a place, and then the Ugly Ducklings were coming in, or Kensington Market.
Right.
Those bands were decidedly not R&B funk, but there was enough sort of cross pollination that audiences were seeing it from night to night. If you went down to the exhibition in 1966, Chum probably had a little stage that had bands playing on it. You'd probably see a horn band, and then you'd see the Staccatos from Ottawa, a vocal band, and then you'd see whatever. I mean, I went in 67.
Yeah.
There was a thing called Time Being, and I got to see Buddy Guy open for the Guess Who. So I got to see Buddy Guy play a whole set, crazy, great blues guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Wild, out of this world kind of stuff. And then Randy Bachman, doing.
Wow.
Yeah. That was before Taking Care of Business, of course, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a treat.
Yeah. Amazing.
Such a different time.
It was.
Wasn't it? Just, wow.
But, it's a story in my book where I go, 1967, Randy Bachman, Time Being, and I'm standing there, and I'm 15 years old, I don't know, and watching him and thinking, someday maybe I could do that. And 11 years later, I've played the CNE Grandstand.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty amazing
great.
When you think, only 11 years? Wow.
Yeah.
But when you do a memoir, it keeps delivering those little hammers on your head, where you're going, really? And you sit down and you look at you do the math and you go, that was only 11 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wow. All right. Well, do you want to play us out with something? I think, is there anything more that you want to?
Let me see. What can I play? You want a little jazz on the way up?
Yes, please.
Something smoky. It's a little. This is one of the hardest things to play. Mm-hmm. So, and it is kind of part of my wheelhouse. This is kind of like the Suitcase Blues wheelhouse.
Oh.
But this is in a different. This is not a ballad. So I got to walk this, because everything in this new stuff is about groove to me.
Yes.
So this is a walking groove, a walking 4
okay.
bass kind of thing that has to keep going. I also had to modify this to try to create the small chunk that I will use in the video. Mm-hmm. So I may bugger it up because I'm, trying to rearrange in my head as I go. But anyways, it's called Gee Whiz.
Okay.
Okay.
A dizzying display, my friend. Oh, wow. Wow. Well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a little brain cramp in the middle of that one. I guess when I shoot the video, I'll have to go, take 2, take 3, and then half hour later, take 67. Oh, dear. Well, this is fun.
This was
I always
fun.
like doing this with you.
Yeah, we'll do more.
Okay.
This is fantastic. I love coming, and you're a very gracious, hospitable host. You got lunch today. You didn't have to do that. Right?
Next time you come, you have to bring the food.
I will.
Okay.
I will. All right. Listen, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, sincerely.
You're welcome.
It's been a lot of fun.
Good.
All right.
And, even though this wasn't a Christmas one, Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Usually I do the Christmas shows.
That's right.
So, you're probably getting this one right in the heart of the fall, but yeah.
Yeah.
How long does it take you to turn these around?
I could get this one up Tuesday, probably.
Oh, see, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we want to.
Well, happy Halloween. Oh, we're not even there yet. Happy October the 8th, everyone.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
See you, man.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right. This has been No Sleep Till Sudbury with Brent Jensen. Until next time, folks, take good care.
Brent Jensen is the best-selling author of No Sleep Till Sudbury, Leftover People, and All My Favorite People Are Broken. All titles available in stores and on Amazon worldwide.